on a very important topic, that is management of customer satisfaction. So friends, this is being brought to you by IHRDI, or Inclusive Human Resource Development Initiative. Friends, as we know that initially, till the time of Industrial Revolution, till that time, the supplies and the products that were created, that were just for being self-sufficient. The societies made certain products that were required by the society and consumed by the society itself in short measures and short numbers. And there was no concept of markets, and there was no concept of exports or imports, and things were also on the basis of barter system. Later on, with Industrial Revolution coming up and machinery replacing the human efforts, and then we shifted from handlooms to power looms. Thereafter, this concept of searching for bigger markets started. So once we started searching for bigger markets, then there was this issue of customer satisfaction came around, because people started going on from one market to another. There was competition which was therein, and the customer had a choice somehow. So what was actually being done was that we were shifting from the seller's market to a buyer's market. Now, why do we call it a seller's market? Because in a seller's market, whatever the seller produces is being taken by the customer in a big manner and in a very welcome manner. But when we are talking about a buyer's market, then it is the buyer who's dictating the terms. He's telling that this is the product that I want, these are the features that I want, and this is what I want would be therein in the product. So the shift was therein from the seller's market to the buyer's market. And then it was also said that the customer is the king. And with this, what has happened is that the multinational corporations came around. And multinational corporations which had offices and which had centers in 100 countries, 150 countries. So they were the ones who became the harbingers of sending products, looking for markets. So that is the brief background, which I think should be a precursor to what we term as the customer satisfaction. So with competition came around, and with competition for the same product, there were number of producers as such. So the customer had a choice whether to go for which product and whether to reject which product. So therefore, friends, the issue of CRM, or customer relationship management, the issue the issue of customer relationship management came around. So when we were talking about customer relationship management, now what is happening is that the customer comes at the center of the product and with the company, and including all stakeholders, because we know that a company is there to make profits, and there are multiple stakeholders, including the promoters, including the the equity holders, including suppliers, government. And somehow with customer relationship management, the customer becomes the center of the attraction. He becomes the center of attraction, and all other aspects, they move towards this. So what happened with this? The customer was given major information. The customer was asked for the feedback. The products were designed as per the customer's choices. The services were provided to the customers. There were after sales services which was therein. And thereafter also, the latest products that came around, they were asked, they were as per the advice, as per the suggestion of the customer. So this came around, and this is customer relationship management. Now when we are talking about management of customer satisfaction, so this is one, I think this is one step ahead of CRM, wherein not only we are talking about involving the customer, having the customer at the center place, but then we are taking the customer as a family. We are taking the customer as that part of the stakeholders, and a very important stakeholder. Just see that this the COVID has happened. Now you would have also seen that people are looking forward to the Tatas to bail them out of this, and the Tatas are also obliging by whatever investment that is there. So what has happened is that Tata is becoming a sort of a family to the entire thing. And you would have seen also videos wherein Ratan Tata announcing around 200 million to this aspect. So when we talk about the customer satisfaction management, then it goes beyond customer relationship management, and it also includes things like ethics. So the companies, the people are seeing how the company is producing goods, how the company is selling it goods, whether everything is fair in this business, or they are using the parameters of ethics also. So that means the means and the ends dichotomy is also brought about. Then the customers are also looking forward to that, whether the companies from which we are buying the products, how good are they are to the environment. So today environment has become very important. So there is an issue of sustainable development also. Sustainable development goals have been promulgated by the United Nations as such. So that has also become very important, and I have seen that the people are preferring those companies which are following sustainable development goals, which are for producing the same kind of product, they are not wasting the environment, they are not abusing the environment. Then other aspect that has come up and people are looking forward to, that is the CSR, and that is the corporate social responsibility, which was always there, but that was not somehow that was not institutionalized. But now with the change in Companies Act since last around 9 years, it has become a part of the Companies Act, and the people are also seeing how good a company is in terms of CSR, whether there is a whether the company is spending on CSR, or it is just a lip service that is being done on this aspect. So that aspect is also see. And I would just like to share with you, we have a Citibank here, and I was speaking, and this is long back, not now, this is long back. I was speaking to the person concerned, because as we talk about Citibank, they deal with very high net worth individuals. So he told me, he says, I was speaking to him, he says, I'll have to leave now. I said, what happened? And this is a branch head. He said, sir, we have a client here in Chandigarh, and that lady is alone. The husband and others, they are living outside the country. And then he says, I have to take a plumber to her house to get the taps and all rectified. I said, Citibank and plumbers, what has happened? You started a new business? He said, no, sir, that lady is alone, and she has nobody to fall back upon, and she has requested me that my taps are dripping, and I would help me into this aspect. So I was really moved. He says, and he says, apart from this, we are giving them the movie tickets. That was a time when the malls and movies were still there. Last 2 years, I think we are just forgetting what are movies and seeing them into malls. So he says that was therein, and we are sending them tickets every month so that they can go and have that movie. So this is, and I was, oh, this is okay. So the branch manager of Citibank, taking the plumber to a customer's house and getting it rectified. So I think this becomes a part of what is a customer satisfaction management, because herein the customer is at the center, and he is a very important stakeholder. He's just not somebody who's been just sold a product and thereafter by Jairam ji ki aapka jo bhi hoga. So now we have to learn from this aspect, how we have moved from the brick and mortar to the click and portal, and especially those companies which are into the foreign domain. I think, nothing to take away from the Indian companies, but I think the companies who are into who are sort of foreign or multinational companies, therein the concept of treating customers as king is better. You just take the example of, let's say, Amazon, who started that if you don't like the product, you can return it back within a period of 30 days and no questions asked. And I myself done one product, and I didn't like it and then sold it, no questions asked. The amount was credited to your bank account from wherein the amount it was debited. So this is actually happening as such, and we never thought that this could happen in India, because if you just go on retail in Indian aspect, and they have big boards that goods once sold will not be taken back. It could be just exchanged, and that too within 7 days time and with a bill. So the things are changing as such. Friends, I remember, the Toyota. There's a case study on Toyota, how Toyota develops its various SUVs and cars and all. So initially they said we started taking feedback from the adults, because the ones who were driving cars. So then we thought that nothing much is coming around. So over a period of time, they said we started taking feedback from the college students. We got some feedback, but it was not enough. Then we just went down to class +2 students. Again, it was not enough. Then somebody suggested that you take feedback from class 10, 9 or 10 students. So the management said that class 9 to 10 students, they do not drive any vehicle. So, but then taking in a queue, they said we can just try, and it was in Japan. So they started taking, and they were amazed to find out that there was number of positive feedbacks that came around, and on that basis they developed their vehicles, and then these vehicles were really liked by the public at large. And then now they go till to the extent of class 5 students, class 4 or 5, and mind you, class 4 or 5 students, they do not drive a vehicle, they do not have a license, neither they drive a vehicle, but the feedback that is given to Toyota, and Innova is one such product that was given by class 4 5 student, because they understand things, they understand automobiles, and this is taken as a feedback. So these are examples wherein what is happening is that people are, especially not even people, the kids are that way being involved in terms of designing of a product, in terms of bringing the product about, in terms of features, in terms of how it should be spread, and in terms of the various products and services which are therein. So friends, this is all about this is the step higher than customer relationship management, leading to management of customer satisfaction, because satisfaction here becomes the core thing. It is not just selling once and then whatever will happen will happen. No, I think, and then on this topic we'll have two very eminent speakers today who will be discussing this aspect, and they have seen it, they have discussed this. So it's my friend, this is my privilege to introduce today Dr. S.K. Sharma and Dr. Meenu Dhiman. Just a brief introduction. Dr. S.K. Sharma has retired from New India Assurance Company Limited as the Chief Regional Manager. And he put in more than 35 years of service therein, and throughout the country in various positions, including in teaching as the principal, as the auditor for RTI jobs. And then he was also dealing with, grievances and then bringing about services. And to his credit, he has a PhD, a law degree, and an MBA into this, and is an eminent soft skill trainer also in the region and otherwise. So welcome, Dr. Sharma, and I hope with your expertise, we'll be able to gain much on this topic. The second speaker of the day is Dr. Meenu Dhiman. Dr. Meenu is presently with the UNDP, Haryana, and she is looking after the implementation of sustainable development goals. She is also an MBA and a PhD, and putting more than 17 years of experience in teaching, in training, and in various aspects, and now with certain multilateral and the government bodies also. She was with the ICFI Business School, then ICFI University at Baddi. She also remained a Deputy Director with Haryana Skill Development Mission. She was also with Punjab Skill Development Mission. And she has, handled, apart from teaching, she has handled placements also. She has handled admission process also. She was also with the MIT University. And to her credit, she has number of research papers, publications, case studies, and she has attended a number of training programs, both in India and abroad. So welcome, Dr. Meenu, and I am sure you will be enlightening our audience today on this topic. So friends, not taking long, first I request Dr. Meenu to take over from here and to explain her views and experiences on the management of customer satisfaction. So welcome, Dr. Meenu, on the dais, and the podium is all yours now. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Namaskar. This is Dr. Meenu this side. I'm really delighted to have all of you here. Delighted to have me also here. I had plans of introducing myself briefly today, but the way Dr. Sanjeev has introduced me and has given my credentials, I somehow get a feel that if I have to view myself as an organization, I can proudly say that at least I have one satisfied customer. Thank you, Dr. Sanjeev. Sometime back, Dr. Sanjeev connected with me and discussed about this topic. I just simply could not refuse. Simple reason being, consumer behavior till today remains one of my most passionate subjects ever since my MBA days. So much so, I did my doctorate also in consumer behavior. So anything which concerns perception, attitude, understanding of the post-purchase behavior, cognitive dissonance of the customers always remains my top priority. Despite leaving my teaching career 6 years back, I still have that passion for interacting with like-minded people and on like-minded topic like these. Thank you, Dr. Sanjeev, once again for having me here. And uh, there is a bit of concern which pains me that because of the COVID-19, we could not be physically sitting face to face with each other, which I would have loved to. But of course, I still feel grateful, and that at least we have platforms like these, virtual platforms like these, wherein we can get into knowledge sharing with each other uh, through these platforms. And with this, I would like to start my presentation. Before I start the presentation, I would request all of you all to get from the mode of audience to customer for a brief duration of 30 minutes that Dr. Sanjeev has given me. To me, to my mind, anybody and everybody who's sitting here today has at some point of time during some stage of their life been a customer. You must have gone through certain analyzing optional alternatives, looking into the alternatives, buying a product, or going through those phases of satisfaction, dissatisfaction, anger, irritability. Just for a few minutes before we move into the presentation, just visualize those moments when you actually felt very happy with the product, very unhappy with some product, or irritable or angry with the way the product was delivered, or the way the product, the complaints that you gave about the product were addressed. Just for a few minutes, just visualize that, and then we'll move on into the presentation. Dr. Chadda, may I request you to kindly put the slides so that I can start? This visualization of your being a customer will give you insight into what we are doing today is not just theoretical. If we get into understanding that theory actually differs from practicality, and not every time you can put a stamp on theory as to this is the way things will go because somebody has put it in theory. It will always differ. It will always have dynamism in the way things actually go in the marketplace. Can we have the screen presentation? I hope this is visible to everyone.
Yeah, it's visible.
It's visible.
Visible. You can continue. You can continue.
Okay, thank you so much. There's a small part which mentions here, the best customer service is of that wherein the customer doesn't have to come back to you, call you, need you, or ask you for something which probably did not satisfy his need. So with that foundation, when we think about customer satisfaction, if a customer never feels the need to come back to you to ask for something because there is a missing link, there is a gap in the delivery of the product or in the quality of the product, if he never comes back to you, this can imply two things. Either because he is a kind of customer who doesn't like to complain, although he's dissatisfied, which is a dangerous thing. We'll see that at a later stage, which is a dangerous thing for me as a marketer. But if a customer doesn't come, doesn't call me, doesn't feel the need to stay connected with me because he's so satisfied with the product and he feels so happy because you are connecting, you are creating those point of contacts with him, and he remains satisfied with the product all through the value chain of the product, from pre-purchase to post-purchase, or even the addressing of your complaints regarding the product performance. We'll start the agenda for today's discussion. I'm trying to start with two small case studies which are relevant in today's scenario of COVID-19, especially Netflix and Amazon. We'll come to that at a later stage. What is customer satisfaction? Some small interesting facts, because Sanjeev ji has given me only 30 minutes. I would not like to cross those 30 minutes, would like to remain within those 30 minutes. who are customers and what are the levels of customer satisfaction and customer satisfaction process. I would leave you with a 30-second video, a YouTube video, which I have already shared with Mr. Sanjeev, which would give you an insight into why customer satisfaction is so important in today's world. So we'll get going. I am discussing the case of Netflix. The moment we talk about Netflix, what comes to everybody's mind? It is something in the last 1 year which has come as a blessing in disguise, which has made us feel that there could be something which is above boredom. We may never be bored even staying at home. We may be in a lockdown situation. We may be restricted to stay at home, yet there is something which is giving us a new feel every now and then. And that is Netflix. Now, something which started in 1995 as a small company only for DVD rentals, today has grown to a manner wherein I suppose we can proudly say that even movies, going to the movie theater because of COVID, that has become a challenge. But there are interesting entertainment series, there are interesting entertainment things which are coming to your own home, and you don't feel the need to actually venture out for watching movies. That is what is the magic of Netflix. I'll just briefly tell you what exactly this company has done. This company is an excellent example of disrupting an entire industry with amazing customer experience. So it's not just about delivering a product or a service, it's about delivering experience. Some experience which probably even the customer had not thought of. We talk about customer, what he needs, what he wants, manufacture that. No, even as a customer, just think, visualize, had you ever imagined in your life that you would want something like this right in the comfort of your homes? Beautiful, wonderful series which even surpass the way movie experience comes, but it was thought about by somebody and delivered right at your in your bedrooms, right? So what exactly Netflix has done? It has personalized the experience of viewers in the sense that personalization remains the key factor of their movies and series selection. The main advantage that you can see here is video streaming platform. You can watch your favorite shows. You can even download these shows. So even when the internet is not there, you can watch that. There is a possibility to download these movies or episodes. Furthermore, once you log into this platform, you will be asked to create a profile. While you're creating this profile, you will be asked to specify your favorite titles or genres. Now, once you mention these genres or these titles, there is an algorithm which figures out that this customer has probably more interest in thrillers. This customer has more interest in comedies or in romantic series. And the next time when you log into Netflix, automatically the algorithm will pick up the genres of your interest, and you would know that you do not have to go through the painful process of browsing through various platforms, various genres, and then picking and choosing one. You can always, because it is engaging you, it is engaging with you, it is engaging in a manner wherein your search process is reduced to a manner wherein what you want is already given to you as an option, right? They give you suggestions, and these suggestions, they keep on improving, and you will always find yourself being hooked to Netflix. That is the reason the tagline, see what's next, because we are giving you an option what you can see next. So see what is next waiting for you. That is the magic of Netflix. This is the real meaning behind their tagline. Their interactive online communication is also one of the reasons why we are so fond of Netflix. What they do is they have dedicated Facebook as well as Twitter for each genre, as well as Instagram. Now, what happens is you again engage through these platforms, through Instagram, through Facebook, through Twitter. Netflix exactly knows how to create that anticipation around their productions. So what is coming next? You always have that curiosity in your mind. So much so, I tell you, my circle, my friends, my colleagues, sometimes because of COVID, we talk a lot nowadays on phone. Some of them tell me it is a crime if you watch a series which is wonderful and not share it with your group. So it is something wherein you are obliged to watch a series and then share it with like-minded people so that they do not miss out on those series or those movies. This is the way they have engaged not only with the customer, but the customer communities itself have engaged with each other so as to get the best experience out of these trending topics. The next one is your, I hope this case study gives a little clarity on what magic you can create as a service provider, as a product provider, so as to give that level of satisfaction to the customer. We'll move to the other platform which has again created ripples in the market with its delivery system. So talking of Amazon, one simple thing that comes to Amazon is, this is my own, this is not a tagline of Amazon, but this is what I feel: being average doesn't work. So if you think that being average, you will provide a good product, a quality product to the customer, and will not care much about the delivery or the post delivery experience, this is not going to work. You have to innovate, super innovate, re-innovate to an extent wherein even customer, imagining that customer also does not have clarity about what he wants. Just again, I'm coming back to the first one when I said visualize yourself as a customer. So today when I visualize myself as a customer, at least I can say there are times when I really don't know what I want. There are times when I really don't know what taste, what flavor, what perfume, what kind of exact product that I'm looking for. And it keeps on changing. With me, I find it so dynamic that today I fall in love with a brand of toothpaste, and 1 month down the line, I use it and I fall out of it. That is what is human behavior. That is what is consumer behavior. We like something for today, and gradually, because of the dynamism it's there in our mind, it's there in our heart, we keep changing. That is how the human behavior is. You have to innovate to an extent wherein the varieties are offered to an extent that he remains loyal to your product, your service. He doesn't feel like moving out of your brand. He may feel like moving out from one variant of your product to another variant, but he may never feel like moving out from your brand to another brand. That is what is the magic that you have to create, that engagement that you have to create with your customers. And that is what Amazon has done. If you ask me, Amazon today is known as the most customer-centric companies ever. It started off as an online bookstore aiming to enhance the process of delivery by offering a personalized kind of experience to its customer. Today, it is the biggest online retailer in the world, and this shift wouldn't have been possible without a genuine focus on customers' interest and behavior. So this does not happen as a coincidence. This is not an accident that we fall in love with a platform like Amazon. Consistent, persistent, hard work, innovativeness, and thinking of the interest, always keeping the customer ahead of company's own goals, company's own interest, is what works wonder in such cases. So the more their portfolio expanded, the more integrated the business model had to become, and they did it. They did it with great success. Its customer satisfaction lays in the way its founders as well as its engineers managed to remove friction areas from the online buying process. There is a complete value chain from a customer browsing to the website to actually going through various brands, products, and then finally buying, and then even return, exchange. So the complete value chain, the engineers have formed it in a manner wherein friction has been completely removed at all the stages. I'm sure every one of you at some point of time must have used this Amazon delivery platform. So they offer this exceptional value, choice of the item, and this is what has made Amazon a leader, a trendsetter. and not a follower in the digital platform. With changing times, the habit of book reading kept on changing. A decade back, if you can recall, we had this launch of Kindle. So that was the time when Chadda ji, you were saying something? You are on mute. Chadda ji, you are on mute. Dr. Sanjeev, are you trying to say something? Please unmute yourself.
No, please, Dr. Meenu, you go ahead.
I could see you talking, so I thought maybe you want to say something.
No. It was just, somebody came, just a message. Yeah.
Okay. So with changing times, what happens was the habit of book reading shifted from, because people wouldn't find it easy to sit at home, read the books, and therefore this platform called Kindle was launched. Now, this Kindle platform again changed the reading habits of the people around, and they found it so comfortable while you are flying, or you are on in a train, or you are probably sitting in your office, or at any platform you're probably enjoying a holiday in a resort. It has become easier now to read a book. You do not have to carry book with you. You just have to carry one Kindle platform. When the business conquered new markets, Amazon Stream, it lined the process by offering shoppers the possibility to browse the marketplace in their own language. Now, this is one step ahead. This is, you can call this, even a customer would have never imagined. I'm talking about across the globe. They are not just catering to one country or one state. They are catering to the entire globe. And then changing the language preferences to each country. That was something which created magic, making it comfortable for every individual across the globe to browse easily and then pay in their own currency. So as an Indian, I needn't worry that I have to pay in dollars, I have to pay in euro. No, I can pay in rupees and I can get the product delivered at my home. Apart from that, they again went one notch ahead. They launched Alexa, their own artificial intelligence virtual assistant. And you will not believe the volume of vocal search queries that have increased and boomed ever since this virtual assistant called Alexa has come in the market. People now find it more comfortable. Those who find it a little discomfort to log into a website and ask and browse things, they simply speak to Alexa and demand the kind of product or service they require. They also have this premium membership program, which is again customer centric and gives free delivery within 2 days, or in some cases, in some areas, select areas, even within 1 day to these premium customers. What else can you ask for? You are not venturing out of your home. You're ordering the product or service right from your home, and you're getting it delivered not with a waiting period of 1 week or so. You're just getting it delivered within a day or two. Premium members, they also receive exclusive deals and have access to Amazon's entertainment platform. Just like the entertainment platform of Netflix, they also have entertainment platform, and exclusive premium members can have access to that. Now, this is the magic that Amazon and Netflix have created. I don't need to now actually stress upon the feel that you create, the engagement that you create with the customers to stay them loyal with your brand or your product. It is relevant whether it is COVID time or a non-COVID time. Such strategies and innovations and such engagements that you create on a long-term basis, staying ahead of the current competitive market, is what has kept Amazon and Netflix on the top shelf of the consumer recall value. I hope these two examples will give a clarity. Anything that comes after this is simply just a theory, which I am sure, I am assuming that I have my intelligent crowd, and most of the things are very easy to understand. So what is customer satisfaction? Nothing but somebody expects something and I offer him. So as a customer, if my expectations are to get a salt which is salty in nature, that becomes my expectation. And if my company is able to give me a salt which is salty, nothing else, I do not expect anything else. Why I took the example of salt is, there might be a salt which is free of moisture, which is free flowing, but is not salty. That is not going to give me a level of satisfaction. We'll come to that also. So customer expectation is nothing but the need and wants and preconceived ideas that as a consumer I carry in my mind about the product or service. But one catch point here is that expectations are dynamic. As I said, expectations keep on changing. So today, what I expect may not be something which I expect 1 month down the line. And that is why, as a marketer, it becomes all the more crucial for the marketers to stay one step ahead and understand customer must have been bored with this product. He might be looking for some variety. He might be looking for some kind of ease, some more ease and some better experience from the same product or service. Some interesting facts I am discussing about consumer satisfaction. I'm sure everybody knows about Pareto rule, 80/20 Pareto rule. So on the same lines, if you keep just 20 satisfied customers, they will give you 80% of the profit. The same lines, if 5% loyal customers who come back to you again and again to buy the product, they will give you a profit of 25% to 85%. So rather than trying to expand, rather than trying to find out new customers, if you're able to keep your current customers satisfied, you will not have to work hard to find the new one and spend your energy, effort, your money, your other things into finding the new customers. Now the second point is a very I would say sensitive point. I consider this as a very sensitive point because I myself consider a customer who would never go back for complaining to the company. This is the nature. This is, some not every customer is very vocal. Some customers would feel dissatisfied and would think of simply silently shifting from that product to another product, which is a very dangerous phenomenon. You would want a customer who, in case of dissatisfaction, anger, irritability, comes back to you, discuss it with you, tells you, so that you know where the gap exists and how to fill that gap. So this says that only 4% of your dissatisfied customers will complain. So 96% of the customers would never come back, which is such a dangerous aspect of your customer satisfaction. A happy customer, again, this is again a dark thing that I'm saying as an interesting fact next to this thing. A happy customer would spread a positive word of mouth to around only 5 customers, whereas a negative customer, an unhappy customer, would tell about 9 people about the product or service. So you lose out on so many customers just by keeping one customer unhappy. All these facts and figures, they just go out to prove that it is so important to take each customer seriously, each relationship, each experience seriously, each contact point, each moment of truth that happens between you and your customer must be taken seriously so that he either goes satisfied or delighted. Who are the customers? Very simple to understand who are the customers. When I say who are the customers, most of the people would quickly jump and say anybody who has bought a product, who's in the process of buying a product, who is now probably prospective buyer, who would in future buy a product, would be a customer. But those are the external customers. We are external customers when we buy a phone or a laptop or a refrigerator. But then there are internal customers who are much, much, much more important than external customers. Because external customers, even if 1 or 2 remain dissatisfied, you may lose, of course you will lose revenue. But internal customer, if any customer remains untrained or dissatisfied, he will further shoo away many external customers, which is going to cause lot of loss of revenue to the organization. So internal customers are usually your own staff people, your employees, your dealers, wholesalers, retailers, your C&F agents, anybody at some point of time which has some direct or indirect contact with the customer, they all become your internal customers. And that is why creating that loyalty amongst your internal customer is very important, because unless they are well trained to handle difficult customers, you will never be able to satisfy your external customers. Also, if you're not able to keep your internal customers happy and passionate, you will not be able to deliver the results that you expect. Levels of customer satisfaction, very simple. I have tried to keep the entire presentation very simple. When we think about what are the levels of customer satisfaction that internal or external, especially the external customers may expect, the number one is dissatisfiers. I don't know how many of you remember the Herzberg's theory of motivation, which clearly says that there are certain elements which by default must be there in I'm referring this from the point of view of marketing. There are certain points, which parameters which need to be there in the product or service by default. Presence of those parameters will not satisfy the customer, but absence of these parameters will give huge satisfaction to the product, to the customer. For example, just few minutes back I discussed, if I'm going to buy a salt, the basic parameter that I look in the salt is saltiness. If the salt is not salty, even if you bring me 10 different parameters, attributes of the product, I will not be satisfied. So that is the basic need that you look into a product. Satisfiers, number two is satisfiers, which is performance need. So I bought a pack of salt, and the pack of salt, when I try to convert and change it into a container, it is very sticky. It gives me a kind of moisture sticky feeling. That again is going to give me a dissatisfied feeling. So over and above the basic attribute that I'm getting from the product, I may also look for or expect for a little free flowing salt, which obviously Thomas Cook and other introduced, Tata Salt also, because customer looks for convenience also. There is something over and above the original product that he was looking for. Delighter is something which probably I had not even thought of, as is the case with Amazon and Netflix, something which I had not even thought of. So I have a salt which is salty, I have a salt which is free flowing, and I have this salt in the form of a table container which I can keep on my dining table and shift and put it on my food as and when I want, right? So these are the three levels of customer satisfaction. There is a very simple model of Tibor model of customer satisfaction. You just by watching it, you can understand that the company offer is given in the form of a square, and the circle depicts the customer needs. When both are superimposed on each other, that is when the customer satisfaction happens. And as a marketer, as a company, this is what I have to look forward to, superimposing the customer needs with the company offer, so that there are no gaps, there are no outside space which are unfilled. And that is where the magic starts happening. Just a simple element of customer satisfaction process, the understanding of customer expectations. As I said a few minutes back, it does not restrict to only understanding of the customer expectations. You have to move beyond and create those expectations. You have to become a customer yourself and imagine and visualize what is it which is going to give comfort, convenience, and a beautiful experience to my customer, so that he feels like coming to me again and again and again. Based on the expectations that you feel the customer may have today, tomorrow, or the day after, you produce a product which gives promises to the customers. And based on those promises, you execute those promises in the form of a delivery of the product. Either you can call this a tangible product or an intangible product. apart from the product, which is the I would say quality of the product, which is tangibly seen, the contact points and movement of truths, which I am again and again referring to, which are more important. You know, I may go to an Apple store. I am very clear about the quality of Apple phone, but if the staff is not able to handle my quiz or handle me properly, I may never want to go back again to that store. So it is not just about the product quality, it is about the overall experience that I am able to execute and give it to my customers. Last two important things which come here is ongoing dialogue with the customer. Do not forget your customer. Let him forget you. He may forget you, but you do not forget him. Keep going back to him. Keep asking him. This will give you a snapshot of what are the missing links, how you can fill these gaps. Is there anything which he keeps as a priority? It's not just about dissatisfied customer. It's also about creating the priorities. So a customer may be satisfied, but he has some other priority about a toothpaste in his mind. He's satisfied that the white toothpaste gives him white sparkling teeth, but at the same time, deep within, he also has those expectations or those fantasies that what if this toothpaste was also giving me some health benefits? It was Ayurvedic, it could give me some other benefits which I probably could not even imagine. So that is where the continuous dialogue with customer needs to happen, not just to understand whether he's dissatisfied or not, but also to understand what are his priorities with respect to the particular product, so that I can offer variety of products to my customer under the same brand. You have to keep conducting customer satisfaction surveys. We may not go into detail at present. There are various types of surveys that you can keep conducting on the point of sale, when the customer is buying the product. Post sale, you can conduct the survey. This is just to understand and gauge his interest in your product, and whether he would come back or not, whether his priorities are shifting or not, whether there's something new that he is looking for or not. And this would help you come up with new variants in the next cycle of your product value chain. So customer feedback, as I was discussing, is most important, and this is basically a point of contact between you and your customer to identify quality and discuss his priorities. Last but not the least, as I already mentioned about 80/20 Pareto rule, customer retention. Customer retention is something which, as per the language of Warren Buffett, it takes around 20 years to build a reputation and just 5 minutes to ruin it. So if you think about it as a marketer, you'll do all the things very differently, because you would not want to lose your reputation that you have built in last 20 years in just 5 minutes. You have to work hard on sustaining that reputation that you have built with so much of hard work. I would request Dr. Sanjeev to kindly show a brief YouTube, and I would leave at here my audiences here, just in case there are any questions or any queries. Maybe we can address it at the last part of the presentations after Dr. S.K. Sharma is over with it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. With this, I would like to leave.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Meenu. Quite crisp and very enlightening, and especially this case study of Netflix and Amazon. This is quite relevant today, and you know, what I was thinking, these both of these are multinational companies. I would have been very happy, if we could have a similar Indian company and having the same kind of emphasis on customer satisfaction and customer relationship. But I'm afraid still we have a long time to go. Maybe, the rhetoric is there, but the kind of service and the kind of attitude in terms of passion about service is missing. So thanks a lot, and we'll take the questions at the end. So now I invite Dr. S.K. Sharma to take off from here, and to share his experiences in the field of customer satisfaction management. So Dr. Sharma, warm welcome, and the podium is all yours now. Kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Chadha. And I must thank Madam Meenu Dhiman to have shared her experience in such a wonderful manner that it has brought out the entire plethora of the gambit of customer satisfaction, which was hitherto, we don't come across daily such a deep insight into the multinational companies. Going by this, my own practical experience in the insurance industry, as we are day in and day out, we are coming in contact with the people. And at the point of contact, most of the time, people who come in contact with the clients or the actual customers or external customers, they are not well equipped, or they are not that adequately smart enough to deal with all their needs and wants. That is why they say, once you want to create an organization, first create your people, develop people, invest in people. Earlier, we have been taught since we started this management job in the 70s or say early 80s, we were taught, as per the typical Philip Kotler phenomena, customer is the king on our premises. But Madam Meenu has also explained it nicely, that it is not only the external customer who is the king on the premises. It is our internal customer, our own employee, the people in whom we need to invest, we need to groom, we need to hire with abundant caution from a good college. Let me take the example of airlines, because if I start with insurance, you may not be knowing all about the internal working of the insurance, but all of us have well aware of the airline industry. How well dressed the people who come in contact with us, they are having best of the communication skills, they know their job well, and they are courteous enough to satisfy the needs and the wants of the customers. May I have a little water, please? Thank you. Once these our own people, in case of airlines example we have taken, they are well trained, well groomed, and they solve the problem then and there. Because in most of the organizations, the boss, the person who is at the ED level or the senior managerial position, they do not want to delegate the decision-making process at the lower level, where the people come in contact with the person, and the client feels cheated, not satisfied. That's why we are here to find out where are we lacking in our customer satisfaction. If our employee, if the person who's coming in contact with the people, he is well trained, hired from a good university, is made, given the proper authority to take a decision then and there only. Again, coming to the example of airlines, once a lady was traveling with a small child whom she had to feed, and alongside her there was another lady. The lady was uncomfortable because the other lady had to feed her child. She complained to the air hostess and told her that please change my seat. I cannot sit with this lady whose child is disturbing me, and she is also disturbing me all the time, and I cannot travel with her for a long haul journey from Delhi to Bangalore. Now, the air hostess, she had took the problem and discussed with the flight purser, who was the head of all the staff member there, and flight purser discussed with the pilot who is in charge. Then he asked, okay, you shift that lady with the child to the business class. Let that lady travel alone. And then the air hostess came and very politely she said, Madam, your request has been entertained and you will not be sitting with this lady. Captain has allowed to give one business class seat at the same cost. We won't be charging. And she said, I have created a scene and they have agreed to my request. But they shifted that simple lady with the child to the business class and not that lady who was creating fuss. This way, the power, the financials involved in that, there is a 3 times difference in the cost of the economy class and the business class. That created the decision-making process then and there only when both the customers got satisfied. She could travel alone and the other lady with the child, she could travel in business class. Similarly, if we look into other aspects, what goes into creating this loyalty, repeat purchase, referrals, and increased in product use, they are not something that has fallen from above. These are the things created out of customer grievances, customer feedback, customer response taken with the help of proformas, some hiring of agencies like these call center agencies. They take feedback and those grievances, those feedback, they are analyzed by the top management. At least I had in my own organization created a codified policy which was put in place in all my 2,000 offices spread over India. And every office, whosoever received any complaint, whether it was, we have a hierarchy of 4 level offices: branch, division, regional, and head office Mumbai. I used to sit in Mumbai, and any office, whether it was a micro office, branch office, divisional, regional, or any of whatever complaint they had, whatever grievance they had received, they were supposed to send it to head office. And what action they had taken, that was brought to the top level executives or at times to the notice of the board of directors level. Such was the strength of the feedback, customer complaints, or customer grievances we used to take so seriously. And that is why today all the insurance companies, they are on the verge of collapse. And ours is the only organization, though it doesn't require much of the attention over here, that's doing very fairly good with quite a nice market share. And the name of the company, if you want to know, it's a New Day Assurance Company, and they are the leaders in the non-life insurance sector. Now, it has come up so well because our recruitment policies are very, very strict, and we reward people only who could solve the grievances. We have put one column, how many grievances were received and how many were solved. And we link with the, not with the only the procurement targets and the other business targets, with the grievances received, how nicely they were tackled, how nicely they were addressed, and how their feedback was sent to head office. Most of the time in different organizations, or even my say you go to any, say, where you point of purchase of service, have you experienced that a particular place you feel delighted, and at a particular place you feel that you are not you are left high and dry, notwithstanding the fact that you are paying for it, you are come to fulfill your need and want, but you are not taken care of, you are not attended to properly. No, these aspects are to be taken care of, where a little smile at the point of contact, with courtesy and with proper behavior and attitude of that person, that matters, not the how the product was given, how it was priced. Though there are reasons for development of the product, as also the quality of the product. Like Professor Chadha has already said that in Toyota, they are following the policy of continuous improvement by way of Kaizen. Kaizen, Kaizen. That's a continuous improvement, and that's a part of the total quality management. And if your product is good, that is, Rolls-Royce is good, Toyota is good, then certain products and services, they are highly priced. Certain services and products, they are priced at most competitive, because some people prefer to pay lesser price for that service or product. Like we take the example of Indigo Airline. They don't have any business class, because in most of the aeroplanes, most of the airlines, there used to be delay because of the VIP travel. The VIPs used to sit at their homes and dial, ask the plane to be on hold till VIP reaches there. Maybe he's a union minister or some VVIP or somebody else. Now, Nusli Wadia, who's owner of this Go Air, he abolished that VIP business class seat from the planes. Once you reach there, and he has 98% of the timely arrival, timely departure, because of this VVIP abolishing the culture from this. Otherwise, he could also have made money from that. But his customer is now being attracted because of his timely flying and timely landing. Similarly, if we ask you, how many of us can remember 5 Nobel laureates in physics, in literature, or 5 Olympians who have won medal in swimming or athletics? Can we recall 5 women who have become Miss Universe or Miss World? No, we cannot, because they did not influence me or my behavior, and it did not get imprinted in my mind. What got imprinted in my mind is one Kiryana shop man, or one say owner of a shop of medicines, which we require badly these days. They greeted me, they gave me medicines, and I was influenced by their behavior, and that remains etched in my mind. I'll go there again, repeat, purchase, and I'll refer that to many of my colleagues. Same is the case with our insurance companies. If we attend to their problems, if we address their grievances, and the management, top management, they bring about changes, then there is a more purchase of the policies and more revenue for the company. And in this case, these referrals also increase, as Madam has already elaborated, that 20% of the customer bring 80% of the revenue for a company. And one client lost is the loss of 9 more customers. And the client who do not give any feedback or any grievance, they are very dangerous. They shift to other companies without speaking. They want to be goody-goody all the ways. And we don't want those goody-goody. We should tactfully extract why they are trying to leave this company, why they are shifting from. I find that in my area where I reside, there are, say, umpteen number of chemist shops, but people prefer only 2 shops. Why? Because of their pleasing manners, how they greet you, how they meet you, how they inquire about your family, your welfare of your, say, because in the same sector here people know everybody, and he may or may not give you discount, that 25% or 15% discount. You end up paying full, but the way he has treated that remains in your mind. So you want to be treated well. You want your say things to be addressed at the point of purchase very nicely. Most of the time, it has been observed that in order to protect this consumer for the company, so, and more consumers, more customers for the company, we need to have some set of guidelines, and those guidelines are related with the behavioral aspects. It is 90% the product quality, the price of the product, because there is not much difference. If one airline charges you say 10,000, other may be charging 11, and third one may be charging 9,000. There's not much difference. It is where lies the difference? Your ease of doing, ease of conducting business. Now, what the most of the airline they have done is they have eased your getting boarding pass. You can go press your button in the kiosk if you don't have any, say, cargo luggage to be booked, and perfectly all right. Simply walk in and get your, say, boarding pass from the kiosk and go to security and board the plane. That give you a saving of about 1 hour of time. Otherwise, you have to reach 90 minutes prior to departure. That way, we have to, as Madam has already covered in a very, very lucid manner, that we have to keep on changing, innovating, and encourage our employees for creativity. That way, customer satisfaction management, as Professor Chadha has explained very nicely and in a very fundamentally, rather, I should say, starting with the barter system to the present service industry. He has already emphasized upon that customer satisfaction management is a budding concept. And to add it, the second aspect he has emphasized is that our internal customers, which has been corroborated by Madam Meenu, that internal customers are equally important. They are more important rather than they are the kings now. We must concentrate on them. With this, I thank Professor Chadha for giving me an opportunity.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Sharma. And it was a very lucid and a very crisp presentation and a talk on the subject, and laced with a number of examples, especially from the insurance industry and varied from the airline industry to, general day-to-day needs of everyone. So thanks to both the speakers, and now we can take a few questions. We have good time left. We can take a few questions. So if you have a question, you may kindly just raise your query in the chat box, and thereafter we go. And meanwhile, while you raise your queries, Dr. Muhammad Suleiman has raised a few queries and certain observations. So I would like to request him to be on the screen and share his experiences into this. And if there's a query, that's also welcome. Dr. Suleiman, you can come up, please. Kindly unmute yourself and come up.
Yeah. Can you hear me, sir?
Sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible. Yeah.
Yes. Sir. Actually, the strategies for customer satisfaction, it is varies from product to product, industry to industry, isn't it? State to state, nation to nation. So it is there is no one-time policy or a ready-made policy to satisfy the customer. This is my opinion. Because when you are selling a product, you have to identify the customer first. Then number of segments are there in the market. So you have to satisfy each and everyone. So that is why you have to introduce many products to satisfy the different segments. So that is the one issue. So it varies from one industry to another industry. That means if you go to a ready-made industry, your approach may be different. If you sell any product like cement and steel like that, so you have to satisfy the customer. There sometimes you have to approach different type of people. You have to encounter so many other issues. So that is why you have to find out the strategy for different strategies. So that is why there is no ready-made. That is why I told you there is no ready-made policy to satisfy any customer. So you have to change your approach based on the demands of the customer, and it depends upon the supply and demand. That also the another factor. So that is why you have to identify the proper customer. Customer satisfaction is the final version. So before that, when you are going for a manufacturing process, you have to identify the number of segments, whether you can sell the product or not. So that is why it is called demand and supply. So you may be confronting with a lot of competitions. Now, after the opening of 1991, Manmohan Singh period, liberalization policy. So the multinational companies entered into India. That is why they destroyed the traditional industries. Because traditional industries are not ready for any change. They are not ready for any rationalization and modernization. So that is why they could not survive in the industry market. So that is why multinational companies introduced many products. They attract the customers. So they have satisfied the customer.
Thank you.
To compete with them, our national industries are unable to compete with them. So that is why they lost their survival. So many of the industries were disappeared. So that is why my opinion is customer satisfaction is a ready-made affair. So it depends upon the product to product, place to place, country to country, state to state. So have to adopt different approaches. Then only you can survey and satisfy the customer.
Very nice observation, Dr. Suleiman. Very rightly said. Now, Dr. Meenu wanted to respond. Yeah, Dr. Meenu, you can kindly unmute yourself and respond.
Yeah, I totally agree with I forgot his name. What's his name?
Dr. Muhammad Suleiman from Kochi, Kerala.
Dr. Suleiman, I totally agree with your thought of this thing, line of thought. There is a bit of, I probably point that I would like to put across here. Fundamentally, every country, every department, every organization would have certain rules. Fundamentally, I'm saying customer service, customer satisfaction will differ from one country to another country, one state to another state, one company to another organization, and within the organization, one department to another department. But there are certain fundamental rules of understanding that on an average, I have to, you see, if I'm having a company wherein there are lakhs of customers and around thousands of employees, my all employees have to come to a level playing field and understand that policy of the company is to at all time talk in a manner so that customer is never aggravated. That becomes a fundamental rule. So you have to set, although everything is dynamic, everything keeps changing. From every moment of truth that you come across, you will find that it eventually it boils down, it breaks down to that individual employee as to how he handles that particular moment of truth. But as a whole, the company needs to have clarity on making all the employees understand that the fundamental rule with which we operate remains this or that. So either it has to be customer centering, or it is the centric, or it is the product quality, or it is the way you provide service with a smile, or being available for the customer 24/7. There has to be one fundamental policy that every company has to come down to. From that policy breaks down the smaller aspects of providing the service to the customer in a manner.
So it is called customer policy, madam. Customer policy for each and every product. Every manufacturer, they are maintaining a customer policy. Yeah. After sale, the products and service also playing an important part. Then only you can survey. So that is why I given in a chat box. When you go for a purchase of car, you go for a purchase of steel or purchase of cement, your approach may be different. So that is why you have to follow the customer policy. The manufacturer also, they are very well aware of that. They are conducting lot of research. Yeah. After that only they are manufacturing a product. So to satisfy the customer, research also playing a, marketing research also playing a level field.
Yeah. Now the problem comes in understanding that as an owner, I understand what is the policy I want to keep. But those employees at various levels, are they speaking the same language? Are they understanding the same policy? That's where the challenge lies.
So very nice observation. Very good, Dr. Mohammed. Yeah, Dr. Sharma, you raised your hand. Would you like to add or supplement something?
Yeah, yes, sir. Am I permitted?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, in 1980, that was as explained by you, Professor Chadha, that earlier it was seller's market. Now it's a buyer market. In seller's market, customer was not treated well. But now the customer is treated like a king. Though we have been teaching and preaching like this, but practically it was so, as Professor Chadha has explained in his inaugural address. I had to buy in 1980 when I joined the job a Bajaj Chetak scooter. And my point of sale was Amritsar, and I traveled all the way. I had to deposit the dollars which I obtained from my relation abroad, and to get a scooter, Hamara Bajaj. So what they said is, no, you go back. We don't have scooters. आप बिना पूछे आ गए हो? No. It's not available. Just whenever it is available, we'll give you a message. And what they used to do, they used to write a simple postcard, which never reach a person. And you keep on inquiring from them by visiting personally. And I had to pay 3 visits from Jammu to Amritsar to get one Bajaj Chetak. But today you can get any good 4-wheeler at your doorstep.
Right.
That is the sellers and the buyer difference.
True. Very interesting conversation, and I think just to add upon before I forget, we'd like to discuss 2 case studies. One is you've talked about Dr. Mohammed Sulaiman has raised a very pertinent point about after sales service, and Maruti or Suzuki worldwide is not the market leader. Incidentally, the Toyotas and Hondas are the market leaders worldwide. But in India, it is the Suzuki who's market leader. I think initially because they got the first hold because of collaboration with Maruti, that is number 1. Secondly, and I think most importantly, because of the after-sale services. The after-sale services that Maruti offers and the kind of simplicity that is in their machine, wherein even a normal scooter repair person can just open it and repair it if there's an emergency, which no other the automobile manufacturer, including the Japanese and including the German and US machines provide. So I think that is what we term as a good product in terms of an after sale service also. And then one more thing is that if you want to sell it after driving for 5, 7, 10 years, so it has a good what that term that we use, you can get good money while you sell it as a second-hand product, which is not there in others. So I think these 3 aspects makes Maruti the number 1. This is one. Then, as Dr. Mohammed Sulaiman was talking about, different parts and talking about different customers, what a case study of Nescafe comes to my mind, wherein Nescafe, and Minu will correct me on this, I may be wrong. Nescafe offers more than 70 to 80 tastes worldwide. Nescafe is just a coffee, and the taste that is therein in USA is different from what is in South Africa, what is in Tanzania, what is in Japan, what is in India. And in India also, the taste that Nescafe offers in northern India is different from the taste that is offered in Kerala, Kochi. So this is another aspect wherein you have to look for the customer, and all your 4 Ps accordingly goes on. And yeah, Dr. Min. Okay.
Localization of your products and services.
Localization of your product. And even, I remember I have fond memories with Dr. Mohammed Sulaiman when he was with Malabar Cement, and he came to us at the ATI Punjab Mahatma Gandhi State Institute on one program that we did it for them. And then, we thought that they are from South, we'll offer them South Indian food. And for us, South Indian food is a dosa and idli and a vada. This is what South Indian food is for us. And then later on, he said, sir, the spread is little in that sense, because he had a team of people who had come from Malabar Cement, and especially, people from their trade unions who are sort of, considered to be the VIPs and aggressive people who he brought. And then, I said, for me, this is what South Indian food is. But later on, I traveled to Maharashtra and Mumbai. I found it that vadas are different kinds of vada. Idlis are different kinds of idlis, and dosas different kinds of dosas. You have medu vada. I didn't know there's a medu vada. There's a dal vada. There is so many of them. And for us North Indians, South India means a dosa, vada, and a idli. So this is like what you're talking about, localization. And if somebody as a market, as a consumer, or as a company who's into it does not talk about all this, I think that is also defeated. So thank you, all of you. And now we have, Dr. Yognath Singh, who's the course director in the ATI of Karnataka with us also from Mysore. So Dr. Yognath, would you like to add upon, you raised some query. So I request you to come on person and to speak about your observation and your study.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Dr. Dhiman and Dr. Sharma's very interesting inputs they have given about the customer satisfaction. But from my perception, because I work with the Citizen Services Act particularly, when Dr. Dhiman was explaining, I was very conscious to know about whether there is a mention of the product as well as the services. basically in the government sector, we are now focusing on the services sector, where in which we want to give a quality service to the citizens. Hence, it is Citizens Satisfaction Act. That is the Citizen Services Act is nothing but the Citizen Satisfaction Act. In that context, there is a great gap in measuring the satisfactory level of the citizens. From that point of view, I feel Dr. Dhiman has related some context where in which I could understand that one from the point of the services also. But as a common citizen, we are talking of the air tickets and going to purchase a Maruti. But as a common citizen, if I go to a shop, purchase something as a product, I will purchase. And nowadays the people are very conscious and citizens are very careful to choose. There are a lot of choices available, and they are very careful to choose whichever they want. From that context, if it gives satisfaction, that is the satisfaction of the customer. Whereas in a government office, if a person goes to a government office to get some service, he or she may not get satisfaction. Wherever across the country you ask why that is done. So anything is done from the point of that one. Can Dhiman and Dr. Sharma Saab, because of his experience, can highlight on these things. I hope that all of you visited government offices to get one or the other service, how the people will be treated, how they will be given the service. From that context, can you highlight, sir, Dr. Sharma Saab and Dr. Dhiman madam?
You pay the service charge and then automatically you will get the satisfaction.
No, I'll tell you.
Dr. Meenu.
Yoginath ji, you have raised a very right question. I think Dr. Sanjeev would agree to that. It's been last 5 years that I am attached with government departments. So I know how tough it is for the customers to walk into a government office and walk out of it feeling satisfied. I don't know. I'm not sure whether you're aware of this or not. There is this state training policy 2021, which has been launched 2021, which has been launched all across the state, all across India, to be implemented by various states. This policy is basically highlighting the importance of making government employees understand the technical knowledge that they need to have about their product and service, and also the domain, the soft skills knowledge that they need to contain so as to interact with any outsider who drops into their office.
Madam, to share with you, there is a national training policy from Government of India. Based on that one, the state training policies have been introduced. Whereas in 2011, all government agencies across the country have introduced this Citizen Services Act. So which is basically depending on the quality services by the government offices. But we have given a lot of training. I know Dr. Chadha Saab also might be involved in this one, but we have given a lot of training even after this one. I don't know how the government machinery is avoiding these quality services. If they say, even nowadays they are now coming into this one, we say that whenever a person comes to your office, please offer a chair, give a cup of water, and ask why they have come. All these things are there. And very recently, last month only, Government of Karnataka has brought a circular with this regard that citizens should be treated as a main person who comes to your office. This is a recent circular from Government of Karnataka. I hope in across the country, many state governments have introduced this one. Apart from this one, I think a lot of research has to go into this one, services to the citizens also. From that point of view, I am now concentrating this one.
I tell you, I'm not, you talking about research, I'm just telling from a very, I would say, superficial point of view on a small sample size that I have seen in the last 5 years, because I've been involved in the government departments. I would say, in-depth experience of being there in the departments. So I know that it is a top-down policy which needs to be changed. Unless the arrogance of the top people sitting in the departments, that improves. You cannot find the assistants, attendants. So I would not like to mention much here. Everything is very clear and transparent. The top people, the arrogancy with which they communicate to their down people automatically filters down to the person who comes from outside. So the shift has to be.
I do agree.
Training institutes, when somebody clears the civil services examination, from there onwards, the training has to be very clear as to what kind of communication they should be passing down to their people.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Just to add
yeah.
upon,
I do agree.
Dr. Yognath, just to add upon now, now as the southern states are rather harbinger into this regard, the Right to Service Act and followed this up with e-Sampark centers that are known by different names as the Seva Kendras or somewhere, wherein, all the services they can pay utility bills and everywhere. I remember, initially when I joined my service, I used to take a half-day leave just to pay my electricity bill on one day and a water bill on the other day. And sometimes
so
when I
funny.
just went a little higher, then I used to send my peon or my assistant to pay my bill with the fees.
Yeah,
Now it
yeah,
becomes so easier, and with digitization, things are
Now,
further improving.
now you can pay every bill through online, sir.
Yes.
That facility is introduced
yeah.
already.
Mobile,
Yeah, that digitization has come up,
mobile
and
only.
things are better. But still,
Mobile phone. Yeah,
just to compare it with the private sector, you can get a Domino's pizza for that in 30 minutes, and if they don't deliver, it is free. So I think when will be that kind of service out there? Same kind is with FIRs. The FIRs, if somebody wants to just go for FIRs, it's a hell lot of a job to actually get the FIR registered. But maybe because I think one factor, because now I am into government service for quite some time, I think one factor which I think came from the colonial period was that we don't trust our people. We don't trust our people. And on the other hand side also, we have reasons not to trust our people. We have reasons not to trust, because we as a country, I am very sorry to say that we go more for money, profiteering. See what is happening during COVID times. Even if you trust what is happening, even big business people who have lots of money, they are hoarding concentrators, oxygen concentrators they have found out. So, I mean, in foreign, if you go by, even if your check, you deliver a check, you sign a check, and even if the sign is not matching, they will still pass the check with the simple reason that everybody is innocent till found guilty. We have the other hand side that everybody is guilty till found innocent. And I think it has also some roots as such therein. So maybe as the generation goes on, because we are not the generation which was in 1947 or in 1970s or in 80s. This is generation of 2020. So they have to be both responsible also, accountable also, and then want to get their rights also. So this has to go hand in hand. And till that happen, the government may not relax, because you as a officer, or you as a insurance officer, or you as a finance or bank officer, you know that if something goes wrong, you will be personally held accountable. Your increments can be stopped, your promotions can be stopped, or even your pension rights can be stopped. And even you can go into jails, there will be CBIs, there will be so many CVCs and everything. And if you do not sanction anything, even if you are rude with the customers, nobody is going to take you to task. So till that time, both angles, both hands go hand in hand to each other. Till that time, you'll still continue to get the same kind of services. I mean, this is what I think. You can add upon. Dr. Sharma wanted to add upon. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm permitted to say.
Please
Hello?
go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, we have about 15 crore documents issued annually by way of insurance policies. Each document consists of about 4 to 5 pages, depending upon the policy. Now, to imagine the quantity of paper used. Now, yesterday only we received instructions from our regulator, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, that all policies be issued digitally through DigiLocker to save paper, as well as now once digitization is there, like in Chandigarh, if people are familiar with the licensing authority, where driving license and this registration of vehicle is done, this is a very simple procedure. You simply deposit the papers and it will reach your home. Registration certificate of the vehicle, the driving license renewal, or whatever it is. Same is the case with passport. You have only to deposit the paper online anywhere in the e-Sampark Kendra, and once you have to go for the biometrics picture in their office, and then passport comes to your. Digitization, I feel, is going to play a major role in future. Ma'am.
So the entire discussion boils down on the government departments reducing the point of contact. That means the employee and staff, their arrogant attitude will not change. We just have to reduce the point of contact by introducing more of digitization, by introducing more of, because government departments are very good with respect to infrastructure and digitizing the entire process. When it comes to implementation through the employees and staff, that's where they fail. So probably that's where the magic lies now.
Yeah, great. So I think, yeah, Dr. Yognath, would you like to add upon, or? Yeah, kindly unmute yourself. Dr. Yognath, you are not audible. Yeah.
Somewhat we are deviating your subject.
No. It is not the deviation, but whenever we speak of the customer satisfaction, we look at the products only. Products can be easily taken. Whereas when it comes to the service, then the difficulty comes there. Service, as already it is mentioned, say when you purchase something, it comes with a service also. But whereas in the government sector, basically it is services. So, but that is not taken seriously across the country. So wherever you go, you find this thing. Something has to be done here from this point of view. That's why I am not talking, because I am facilitating this one. And there is a program called Sevattam in Government of India, where it tells about only about the quality management in service sector. So that is basically
in Karnataka.
Yeah. yeah, Muhammad. Yeah, please, Dr. Muhammad, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Muhammad, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Kindly unmute yourself, Dr. Muhammad.
Yes, sir. In Karnataka, you have to pay money to get the things done, whether in government office or private office, wherever you go. You have to give money. Then only you can get the things done. Otherwise, you have to suffer. That is the case.
Not only in Karnataka, across the country. Across the country. It is across the country. Very recently, a minister's son in
Kerala. In
Kerala,
Karnataka, it is rampant corruption is going on.
Rampant, yeah. We do agree. Now the situation.
When you compare with states, you go to Kerala and Tamil Nadu, it is very, very higher than other states. So that is my experience. You can also, you are having your different views.
Okay. So I think if there's no other question, we've already exceeded our brief. So I think request all of you to fill up the form. Those participants, the form feedback form has been in the link. So request all of you to please fill up the form. And thereafter, when we were talking about, just to sum it up, meanwhile I'm summing it up. We had a very lucid discussion on the topic of management of customer satisfaction. Though we started talking about, the products and the private sector, but later on we vibrated towards the government sector as well. So friends, when we are talking about this aspect, we discussed the case study of Netflix and Amazon and how during these COVID times, they have come up, and these two multinationals, along with other multinationals also, they have provided a very good customer experiences to the people, and these are the ones who have provided a lot of customer satisfaction. Rather, the lot of learning is there for Indian companies also to follow them. I think Flipkart and Snapdeal and all would be learning from them, and rather would have learned from them into this regard. We have also discussed who's a customer, and the point about both speakers talked about, having your internal customer happy so that the external customer becomes happy. Internal customer is your staff, is your employees, those people who are dealing day in and day out. So if they are happy, then your external customers will be happy, because the chief executive officer is not going to deal with everybody and everybody. So all your people, cutting across various levels, A, B, C, D, or group 1, 2, 3, 4. They should be knowing they should be proud of your company or your organization, and rather than once they are, then they are able to provide the best customer experience to the people who are dealing with this aspect. Then we also conclude that your 80% of customers will give you 20% of business, and 20% of customers will give you 80% of business. And it is always easier to retain customers rather than to get new customers. And Dr. Meenu talked about, a good customer giving you a good feedback, which goes from the word of mouth to 4 people, and a bad feedback goes to 9 people. But I would just say with my experience that in today's wired world, in today's world which is more of the social media world, a bad customer, or rather a dissatisfied customer, can reach across thousands and lakhs of people, which I would like to share. I reached while I was not getting good services from one of the companies who are into RO. I reached out to all my social media, and this would add up to roughly, I would say, around 10,000. And 10,000, if they would have also shared, so it would have added out to around 1 lakh people. And even out of 1 lakh people, if 10% follow the actual grievance, and they would say, so then it's a loss of around 10,000 customers to the company as such. And then on the other hand side, I would just add that we went to eating joint in the Elante Mall out here, which is the Pirates of Grail. And generally, when we were having the dessert, I found that it was family time, and then I found that in my dessert, I found a very, very small piece of, it seemed like a glass, small piece of glass. Generally, in India, we do not bother much because we have been to all kinds of, starting from 5 stars to even dhabas, and even if there is a Concord, we do not complain, and as such, so I came around, I had it, put that small piece out there, and then enjoyed my dessert, and then I was very happy about other things and all. So lastly, when the gentleman came for the feedback, I just casually mentioned, and it was not a kind of a complaint also, because otherwise all things were so good. I just casually mentioned that this small piece was there in the dessert or the halwa that was there. So he felt so embarrassed because I was not complaining. It was not a complaint. It was not, a kind of coaxing them or a kind of bullying them. No, it was just a small reference that this I found. And I told them that you kindly check this dish. Maybe others may have it and it may be a problem. Within minutes, the manager came up. He felt so sorry. Wo haath jodne lag gaye. He felt so sorry for this. And then, I said, no, it is fine. Nothing that way. But so he said, we are removing this dish now. And then later on, while I was paying the bill, they gave discount of 10%, and they gave me a cake with a sorry written on this, that we are sorry. And in India, frankly speaking, we are not used to such kind of pampering and treatments, because wahan to kehta bhi saab mat khao. If I would have it in some other place, he would say, okay, all right, nothing, no. And at the most, somebody could have said a sorry. So this is actually, that kind of customer satisfaction and a treatment. And I am referring it to you, both a positive and a negative aspect also, which is there. So, friends, when we are talking about customer satisfaction, it's like, having even sending even the plumbers to a lady who cannot do it on her own. So that creates a long-term impression, that creates a long-term relationship, and that relation becomes a family relationship. And I had once discussed with a top CN of a Tata Group company. I asked him, sir, how do you market? And give us some tips on how to market things. He said that, Sanjeev, if your product is good, and if you are reaching out to customers, and if you become a part of the customers, if you become a part of the society, then there is no need to market your products. They will be marketed on its own. That time I could not understand that what does he mean, but later on I found out that if you are a part of the society, if you are visible, and if you think, then and while they talk about a product and your face and a name comes to them, so then that means you have become a part of the society. So there is no need for any marketing as such. So this is what I think, in my view, because I think the two eminent speakers have talked about in details of their experiences, of the theory part, the concepts part. But at the end of the day, mukdi baat, let's say for a general layman, it is about, put yourself into the shoes of the customer and think about that what would he require. And as Dr. Meenu rightly, the first definition about from Jeff Bezos, that, the company, when the customer does not have him to think about how the product is, and you already talked about, you already taken all things into consideration. So that is a product. So friends, with this, we come to an end of this a wonderful webinar on a very good topic as such, which I think is very much required in India, both in the private sector, more so in the public sector or the government sector. Things are improving, but yes, we will take some time before we reach up to that level. Just notification that you need to kindly fill up that form. Later on, that recording will also be available on YouTube within a day or two. So you can just ping upon, my WhatsApp number 8727857116. I repeat, 8727857116, and we'll be sending you the recording also and the feedback form if you've not filled it right away. And till the time we meet next time, goodbye to all of you. Sayonara. Keep safe. Have healthy distance of around 2 gaj ki duri, 6, and enjoy with your family. Don't go out. Use Netflix, Amazon, and yeah. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Sayonara.
Thank you. Ma'am, I was only seeking some information from you.